Hello, welcome to a new podcast. This recent guest, I had her before, but then my computer was funny and decided to delete the whole thing. So I had her come again. She does improv, the Des Moines Last Laugh. She's really good. Kim Scarfe.
Hello.
Thank you for coming back. I know the last time was inconvenience, I guess, but
I think it was your computer's way of saying it wasn't good enough. Do it again. Rejected.
Last time I'd say we got pretty deep into your life. I don't know if you want to do that again.
I'm good with whatever questions you've got, whatever. If you want to rehash that stuff, or if you want to do new, I'm fine with whatever you want to do.
I said this to you last time before. You have an amazing ability that I wish I had. You can cry on point on stage, which I think is amazing. I want to have that.
For that stuff comes really just with being in the moment and feeling what your person or whoever you are on stage feels in the moment. So if you asked me to cry right now, I couldn't just be and cry. It'd take a few moments. I'd have to think of something and then sit there with it and then try to do it. So it kind of takes time. And I think when I'm on stage, I'm emotionally invested in whatever's happening. So then if something happens that makes me want to cry, then I'll do that. But I can fake cry really well without tears.
So you do improv, and before you did improv, you were a gym director in England.
Yeah.
And you grew up in the United States. Yeah. So what state did you grow up in?
I was born in Illinois. Then we moved to California, and we lived in New York. But I think I grew up mainly in California. That was the main bit of my growing up, was in Southern California.
And your childhood there, you said you grew up in the hood, sort of. I don't know. Yeah,
well, I moved from when we first were in Camarillo, California, which is this nice suburby, nice town, suburbs, it's just gorgeous. And then we moved from there to Eagle Rock. I went to Eagle Rock just recently when I went to go visit my brother in California, and I went to go visit all my old places that I used to grow up, and it's now completely a hipster place. They've got vegan and juice bars and stuff, and it was not like that when I moved there. I moved there when I was 8, and I remember as we're driving into the city thinking, oh my god, this is the ghetto. And it totally wasn't. It was a proper city. And we did have gangs, but they were a couple blocks away, far enough away where we didn't have that too much. But we were in the city, and my dad being a priest, and we lived next door to the church, we had a lot of interesting characters come to our door, or that we'd have to interact with, and that kind of thing. So it was definitely a shock to the system.
So you told me you started being a gymnast at an early age.
Yeah.
So how did you get into gymnastics?
I started when I was 6. My mom was a ballerina, and she wanted me to be a ballerina too. So she put me in gymnastics and ballet. Gymnastics was the first thing that I ended up doing, and I just loved it, and I took to it really well. And so so that was just it. It just kind of was gymnastics from then till as far as I can go, and then I quit gymnastics at 14. But yeah, she wanted me to be a ballerina.
Oh man, I don't know, man. Maybe because I'm kind of an athlete, but I just admire the athleticism of gymnastic people, just doing backflips.
For me, because now that I've coached gymnastics too, and I've had to demonstrate stuff on the high bars and demonstrate things for the kids, I'm up there on the high bar and I'm like, this is really scary. How did I do this when I was like 10 years old? How did I do flips and like release moves on the high bar? Like how did I do that? And I think, you know, I guess that's why gymnastics is for the young when you start out, so that you have less fear, I guess, when you're small. But yeah, I'm amazed. A, I'm amazed that I did that, but B, I'm still amazed by gymnasts. They're a little crazy.
So I watched this. This is, I guess, it's documentary
Yeah.
on like parents being hard on their kids, and this like gym moms and like gym parents. They're like giving kids like 6-hour days practice, like they have to go out to school, do their homework. Like they're really pressured their kids. Like were you pressured at all?
No, my parents were really laid back, actually. And they weren't like that. They weren't really like that at all. They were really supportive and they were really laid back. I never got pushed for anything. I always just really pushed myself. And then in the end, when I had to make the decision about quitting, they ended up making that decision for me, because I was so wrapped up in it. I couldn't make the decision to quit, even though I was miserable. So they were just kind of like, that's it. Like, you're miserable. I think it's time to be done with it and do something else, which was horrible at the time, but yeah.
Like I know that when you give the kid all the resources, like you can be this, and then it's like so much pressure. But I think there's like I call it poor training. Like the kids who don't have any resources, but like they're amazing at a sport or something. Like you can't get that out of talent. Like.
And for gymnastics, and since coaching gymnastics, there's a really, really, really tiny window to be an Olympian, just to be an Olympian, or to be a world champion, or to be at the top, because you have to start when you're young enough to like get all the flexibility and stuff, because as you get older, your muscles grow, you get less flexible. So you've got to start. I started at the age of 6, and that even is kind of old in gymnastics to kind of start gymnastics. Damn. I moved up very quickly, but I was competing by the age of 7, but people start at like 3 or 4. And so you have to do that. You have to be that way. You have to be short. It's super helpful to be short, to be a certain body type. Helps a lot. You also have to have an ability to take coaching at a very young age. So like you have to be able to you have to be at 6 or 7 years old. You have to be able to be like, your body is at this angle. You need to make your body at this angle so that you can, rotate properly and land. And you have to be like, okay. And you have to figure out in your own body how to do that. And you have to do that at the age of 7, or you're upside down, your toes aren't pointed, and your butt's not squeezed, and your legs aren't together. You need to tighten everything up. So while you're doing cartwheels and flipping, you have to be concentrating on pointing your toes or squeezing your legs, squeezing your bottom at the age of like 6 or 7. And I realized what a rare skill that is, because I'm now coaching kids who are 6 or 7 years old, and they're just like, wah! They're total spazzes. And I'm getting mad because I'm like, you need to focus and listen and concentrate. And then I start getting old and being like, did you know what I was like when I was your age? I was concentrating. But yeah, so it's a very rare, and then you've got to be good enough sort of, because by 16 you can't compete in like elite international competition and stuff until you're 16 to be part of the Olympics and stuff. So you need to have that timed perfectly so that you are 16 going into the Olympics, because kind of when you get to like 18, 19, 20, there are gymnasts who can do that, but it gets a lot harder. So like 16 is a prime year for you to be doing the Olympics, and so you have to be you have to be born in the right year. You have to like be able to have all that stuff put together. And there is one person who missed the Olympics by like 15 days. Her 16th birthday was like 15 days after the cutoff or something. So she would have to have waited another 4 years of like high intensity training in order to make it to the next Olympics, where she'll be like 20. So it's a huge difference. It's kind of, gymnastics is kind of crazy.
So like the point system, I watch like two girls do the same flips, and one will score better. Like like they did the same thing. Like what's the difference?
It is whether it depends on their form. So it can be like one of them had bent knees a little bit. Their feet were apart a little bit. One person's toes weren't pointed 100% perfectly. Maybe it also can depend on height. Like the person who had the better skill might have done it at a higher, like been higher at it than the other one. For some things, it can be like distance away from the vault. So like you get judged not only on your vault and not only on the stuck landing, but how far away you are, like how far you've been able to push yourself away from the vault. It can be the fact that they didn't quite hit the body position 100% the right way. So that's like a 10th of a point off or something like that. Judging is hard. Yeah, judging gymnastics is really tough.
Yeah, man. I don't like China, like in their gymnastics. Like I look at the girls that are going up. Like she's 6 years old. Like she's 16.
They look so tiny, don't they? And it's like all the American gymnasts are really like blah. They're like stocky and like buff, and all the Chinese gymnasts are so like skinny and thin and wiry too. They're just kind of like they're like little they look like kids in a world of kids, but they look like children. Yeah.
So after you quit gymnastics, you went to college and
high school and college. Yeah.
Like, did you still continue to do other sports, or that was it for gymnastics?
No, I quit gymnastics at 14, and then I went into basketball because I liked it and I thought it was fun. And I was terrible. Like I was so bad. I kept injuring people because I'd like swat at the ball and get their hand and they'd like jam their finger or they'd break their finger or something. I was really, really horrible. But I was so terrible that when I tried out for the JV team, that it was a new JV coach and the varsity head coach told the JV coach to not put me on the team because I was that bad. And she put me on anyway because like during all the sprints and stuff, I'd be the first one down and back. Like she saw that I had heart or whatever. So she put me on the team and I loved it. I was just terrible at it. And then that summer I took private lessons and I like went by the gymnastics work ethic kicked in. So I would be like every day 2 to 3 hours in the gym by myself, working on shooting and skills and like all that kind of thing. And then the next year, the varsity coach, the same one that said don't put me on the team, she wanted me for varsity, but I said no. It's like I said no because I wouldn't get playing time. So I was like, no, I want to be on JV again. So I was captain of the JV team, and the varsity coach didn't like me very, very much. But yeah, then I did that, cross country, and then track and field. And in college, I played basketball for a year, and then I also did track and field for the rest of the time.
I think sports, like if your kid is like a little bit weird or shy or like a nerd, like I think sports is like, if you put your kids in sports, that's like the greatest thing you can do because it forces them to like hang out with people, like get socialized. Like it's a weird question. Were you a weird kid?
I think I was. I mean, I'm a weird adult, so I was really a weird kid. There's only like one video of me when I was in gymnastics, and then there was like a videotape of us afterwards, like hanging out, and I was just like, wow, I had personality back then too. Like we were pretending to be whales or something because we were in the pool and we were pretending to be whales. It was just random. But no, I totally agree with you on the whole like sports when you're young, because there's something about not only like enjoying exercise, but there's something that really connects you, for me anyway, as a person, when you're being physically active, and like when you're exhausted and you're running or you're working hard or you're training, and that working hard and training and focus and commitment and work ethic, and you don't want to do it because everything in your body is like screaming that they're so tired, but you have to, because in order to be the best, you've got to do those extra 10 reps or whatever it is. And I think that sets you up for life really well mentally. And then physically for me, I have to be, if I'm not physically active, I get really antsy and like really almost not depressed, but I'm kind of like, what's wrong with me? And I'm like, oh, I haven't run for like 3 days. That's probably why I'm feeling bad. But yes, I was a weird kid. Just to answer that question, how could I not have been? I'm such a weird person, like a weird adult. There's no way I couldn't have been a weird kid.
Yeah, like I would say the reason I had like a disconnect with other people, like I didn't speak English that well, or I didn't speak at all. But like once I got it, like so first day of elementary school, I didn't speak any English, right? And I was like alone in the corner somewhere. And then recess came, and the kids were playing soccer, and I just that's my thing. Like I immediately hopped in, like.
Yeah. And then you like became a part of that like team, or you get like bonded almost immediately. And that's the crazy thing with, especially with like, well, football, soccer. Okay, I like this show called Wild Things with Dominic Monaghan. He just goes all over the world and like looks up weird animals and stuff. But he always like brings a soccer ball with him, and whenever there's like a village that he goes through, and it's like Thailand, it's like South America, it's the like anywhere he goes, he takes that ball, or people are playing soccer, he just goes and plays with them, and he, immediately gets to know them and gets bonded with them. It's such a universal, well, soccer in itself is a universal sport, but I think all sports do that.
See, I'm so happy that I find a person like understand what soccer is, because like majority of people, they don't know like soccer is like it's actually universal. It really is like, yes, universal.
Yeah, it is.
So when you got done with college, you say you moved to England. Mm-hmm. And why'd you want to go to England?
I'm half English. My dad's English. My mom's from here, and I always had some kind of affinity with England. We used to visit all the time, and I just really liked it. So I tried it out for a year abroad, my junior year of college, and I loved it. And I told my parents that I'm not going to graduate college. I'm just going to continue doing college in England and graduate there. And they were like, nope, you're coming home and you're finishing your degree in America. And so then I was determined to go back. And I just love England. Like everything's just like softer, America can be really loud and obnoxious and like, and England can be that way, but either it's their accents or their sensibility, but they can't like be as loud and obnoxious as American people, even though they try. And there's good things and bad things to England too, but for some reason that it might just be in my blood, but England was really kind of the place I wanted to be. And then I distinctly remember George W. Bush got reelected when I was in England, and I'm like, well, I'm staying here for at least another 4 years. I'm not coming back. So then I ended up staying for like 6 extra years after that or something. But yeah.
America has, it's so over the top that you can't believe that it's an actual like country, like.
Yeah. Yeah, and I'm torn between the two of like, I am an American and I grew up here and I get it all, but I've always felt like an outsider because I'm not loud. I'm not like I don't have that American confidence like that, like people do. And my adult life was all in England, so everything about getting your first flat, your first cell phone, like all that stuff was in England. Medical, dental, like all that stuff. And so like coming back here is so weird. I almost had like it was like culture shock for me, because I'm like, I don't even know where to get my hair cut, or I don't know how to get a doctor. I don't know how to do these things. And it's weird. It's just weird because I grew up here, so I feel like I should know all that stuff. But I just knew it all from England. And yeah, it's weird having culture shock in your own country.
You said you're half English.
Yeah.
So you have you're a mixed race kid, like.
Yeah.
like through your life, you had the weird looks, like what are you like?
Yeah, I had that. Growing up, I had a lot because I've had short hair like my whole life. So I not only had like what race are you, but I also kind of had the whole like are you a boy, are you a girl thing, and I also just had like stares. Like growing up, people would always just stare at me. So I think the combination of all those things were really kind of like, what are you? Like, what are you? You like what are you? And now people are like that too, like, but they want to make it more they're more PC about it, so they're kind of like, so what's your I had one guy be like, what's your descendancy, and I'm like, no, you want to ask me about race, right, or my ethnicity? You want to ask me that question? You want to ask me where I've been descended from? Like, that's a weird thing. But yeah, it's really interesting because my sister is like a white, she's like a white black girl. She's got like afro hair, she's got like white skin. She's the only one that burns in our family, the siblings. But she's got black features. My older brother looks like he's from Mexico, or he's from Spanish. My little brother looks like he's from Saudi Arabia. Like, he looks Middle Eastern. And